Hey everyone, I hope your 4th of July weekend was a good one. Have some more news regarding the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee and their focus on the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Sands Majestic Realty proposal to build an NFL stadium in Las Vegas. And it's not the greatest news. Basically, there are two prime members of the SNTIC that are elected officials, but last year received campaign contributions from Las Vegas Sands. That's right. The first person, in terms of total dollar amount, is Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. But in her case, the donations were spread out, if you will, between Las Vegas Sands, the Venetian Hotel, and Sands Expo, which is the giant convention center that is next to the Las Vegas Convention Center. That's right. $5,000 a piece, totaling $15,000. Now, you would say, Zinni, why would you say Las Vegas Sands? Well, because Las Vegas Sands owns the Venetian Hotel and owns, as well as they've developed both facilities, the the Sands Expo Convention Center. That's right. These donations occurred according to records at the Nevada Secretary of State's web database, as reported by a blogger by the name of John Ralston in something called the Ralston Reports, that were made on the 4/23/2015. Basically, April 23rd, 2015. Those donations were made to Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Now, if you're wondering when the SNTIC was created, that was 11 months ago, or February of 2015 or thereabouts. So there was plenty of time for Mayor Goodman to disclose. Keep that in mind. The second person is Steve Sisolak. He is the popular chairman of the Clark County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Sisolak has been vocal in his desire to get the Raiders in Las Vegas, because he views this as an opportunity that may never come again. Mr. Sisolak, Commissioner Sisolak, received one $10,000 campaign contribution from Las Vegas Sands, and that was November 5th of 2015. Again, both Mayor Goodman and Commissioner Sisolak were on the SNTIC during this period of time. Now, it wasn't until April that Mark Davis, April 28th specifically, that Mark Davis, as many of you know who followed this, came to the SNTIC to give his now famous presentation on draft day. But there's no record of a discussion regarding whether or not Las Vegas Sands contributed to the coffers of either Commissioner Sisolak or Mayor Goodman, the two elected officials serving on the SNTIC. Now, according to Nevada's conflict of interest or ethics laws, there is a bit of a catch. And the catch is that an elected official who is not a state legislator is not, and I'm quoting the law, required to disclose a campaign contribution. That doesn't mean that they should not. And they only are not required to disclose a campaign contribution if it is publicly noticed. That happened as per the Nevada Secretary of State, because the only way for the Nevada Secretary of State to post the information is if both elected officials reported the donations. They did that. But there is no evidence, no record, no news report to explain that the SNTIC was informed of these donations. And not only that, before you say, that means they're completely off the hook, one moment. You now have Las Vegas Sands presenting this NFL stadium and wanting something from the SNTIC, wanting a recommendation, it's a kind of a decision, a recommendation that basically rubber stamps their proposal. Hasn't quite worked out that way yet. But the bottom line is that's what's wanted. And that falls into the hands, to a degree, of Mayor Goodwin and Commissioner Sisolak. So you have a situation that on its face looks every bit like a conflict of interest, except for this little clause that says they don't have to disclose. But it doesn't answer this question. What other kind of relationships do the two elected officials have with respect to Las Vegas Sands that may be presenting a conflict? Do either one of them have family members that are doing work with Las Vegas Sands? Do they have cousins that are involved? Because if they do, those do immediately trigger the law. There's no out. It's not, well, you don't have to disclose it. But even then, if you think about the wording as far as required disclosures, just because the law says you don't have to require, but you're not required to disclose it, doesn't mean you shouldn't. Now, of course, in disclosing it, it opens up other questions like, well, what other relationships do you have with them? Or are you going to guide your decision based on what they've given to you in terms of a campaign contribution? That this is out there looks bad, and it's yet one more chapter in the book of Sheldon Adelson's political contributions and attempts to influence the outcome of what governments do. In this instance, it involves the Oakland Raiders. What the SNTIC should do is bring this up for discussion. It should be brought out, and the committee should be allowed to make a determination as to how they want to handle how that looks. Las Vegas Sands is going to be right there in the room. They're expected to make a presentation anyway. This is the right time to do it.